I've been a night shift nurse for 5 years. You get used to the long hours, the empty halls, and the silence that creeps in around 3 a.m. But last night was different. Last night, I experienced something that still makes my skin crawl. It was just after midnight, and I was stationed on the 4th floor, pediatrics. It was always quieter than the rest of the hospital. Not many kids are admitted at night, so the ward usually feels still, eerily so. I was sitting at the nurse's station, catching up on some paperwork, when I heard it. A child's laugh. At first, I thought it was one of the kids down the hall, but as I strained my ears, I realized that it wasn't coming from any of the rooms. It was faint, echoing from somewhere far off, like it was traveling through the walls themselves. I stood up and peered down the long, dimly lit hallway. Nothing. The patients were all asleep and the ward was empty. I brushed it off as fatigue playing tricks on me, until I heard it again. This time it was closer. A chill crawled up my spine. I grabbed my flashlight and decided to check on the rooms, starting with room 403, where we had a little boy recovering from a bad fall. I pushed open the door as quietly as I could. He was fast asleep, his tiny chest rising and falling steadily, his little arm wrapped in a cast. But something felt wrong. As I stood there in the doorway, I noticed something strange, a shadow, small and fleeting, darting from the corner of the room to the far wall. My breath caught in my throat. I shone the flashlight toward the corner, but it was empty. The boy shifted slightly in his sleep, mumbling something incoherent, and then I heard the laugh again. This time it was right behind me. I spun around, heart hammering in my chest, but the hallway was empty, nothing but sterile tiles and flickering lights. My legs felt frozen, but my instincts kicked in. I shut the door and started walking back toward the nurse's station, my pace quickening with every step. That's when the lights began to flicker, one by one, down the hall. Each bulb popping and hissing, leaving sections of the hallway swallowed in darkness. I stopped in my tracks. Something was wrong. Very wrong. Suddenly, the intercom crackled to life. But instead of the usual call for assistance, there was singing. A child's voice, soft and haunting, humming a lullaby. It was a tune I didn't recognize, but it sent a shiver through me. The melody echoed throughout the hospital, slow and deliberate, like it was being sung just for me. I rushed back to the station, fumbling to find the emergency button to call for backup, when I caught movement in the corner of my eye. I looked up and saw her, a little girl, no older than 6, standing at the end of the hallway, her nightgown pale against the darkened corridor. Her head was tilted to the side and her eyes were empty. My blood ran cold. I blinked, and in an instant, she was gone. I don't know how long I stood there, frozen in fear, but when I finally moved, I grabbed the phone and called security. They swept the entire floor, but there was no sign of the little girl. No child fitting that description had been admitted to the hospital. Ever. The next morning I did some digging. Turns out, room 403 used to be the pediatric isolation room, 40 years ago. There was a little girl who stayed there for months, dying slowly from a rare illness. She was all alone. They say she used to hum lullabies to herself to pass the time. The night she died, the nurses heard her singing through the intercom just like I did. I haven't worked a night shift since.